Prince William shocked the world during a press conference in South Africa, revealing that the past year had been the hardest of his life. But what left everyone speechless was not his emotional confession, but what came next. The revelation that he has a sister named Clare, whose existence had been kept secret for decades. The confession caused an unprecedented stir, not only because of the mystery surrounding it, but also because of what it meant for the image and history of the British monarchy. The British royal family has existed for over 1,000 years. Although its origins date back to King Alfred the Great in the 9th century, the modern branch known as the House of Windsor was born in 1917, when King George V changed the royal surname to distance himself from his German roots during World War I. George V ascended to the throne after the unexpected death of his brother and reigned during turbulent times, wars, the Irish Revolution, and colonial conflicts. He had 6 children, including Edward VIII, who abdicated for love of Wallis Simpson, and Albert, who succeeded him as George VI, father of Elizabeth. The latter led the monarchy during World War II, marking the beginning of the decline of the British Empire and the emergence of the Commonwealth. Queen Elizabeth II reigned for 70 years, from 1952 until her death in 2022, becoming the longest reigning monarch. Her son Charles, now King Charles III, lived in his mother's shadow and starred in one of the most controversial stories in royalty, his relationship with Diana, Princess of Wales. Charles was the first heir to obtain a university degree and served in the armed forces. However, his personal life, marked by his romance with Camilla Parker Bowles and his complicated marriage to Diana, was the subject of global scrutiny. Diana, a young noblewoman who married Charles in 1981, was immediately adored by the British people, but her fairy tale hid a painful reality: infidelity, isolation, and emotional suffering. From the beginning, Diana captured the hearts of the British people with her empathy, charisma, and approachability. She stood out for her humanitarian work, especially on sensitive issues such as HIV/AIDS, breaking stigmas and showing genuine compassion. However, behind the scenes, she was living a personal torment. Her relationship with Charles deteriorated rapidly. She discovered evidence of Charles's ongoing affair with Camilla, even during their honeymoon. Diana also suffered from severe postpartum depression and a serious eating disorder. In a desperate moment during her pregnancy, she threw herself down a staircase in search of attention and help. Faced with a family that prioritized image over well-being, Diana struggled to maintain her identity. Years later, she officially separated from Charles, and after a stormy process, they divorced in 1996. Her death in 1997, in a tragic car accident in Paris, left the world devastated. Her legacy, however, lives on today. The story of Camilla Parker Bowles is also central to this plot. For decades, she was the ultimate controversial figure. Her marriage to Charles in 2005 and her rise as queen consort after the death of Elizabeth II marked a shift in public perception, although many still hold her responsible for Diana's unhappiness. Laura Parker Bowles, Camilla's daughter and half-sister of William and Harry, grew up in the shadows. Although she chose a quiet life away from the public eye, tensions with William were well known. Both dealt with the pain of their respective families, and the enmity between their mothers marked them deeply. Over the years, they achieved some reconciliation, but the scars remained. William's marriage to Catherine Middleton in 2011 offered a breath of fresh air for the monarchy. Kate, without noble lineage, won over the nation with her simplicity and elegance. Together, they have built an admired family, a symbol of stability and renewal within the monarchy. However, it has not all been harmony. Tension between William and his brother Harry, especially after the latter's marriage to Meghan Markle, has divided the royal family. Differences in approach, accusations of racism, and internal disputes have come to light, cracking the public image of the royal family. Amid this backdrop of family drama and institutional challenges, William revealed one of the most surprising secrets in the modern history of the monarchy: the existence of a sister named Clare, kept anonymous for almost 3 decades. Clare was born with a rare medical condition that caused visible lumps on her face. Although not dangerous, its aesthetic effects could have led to cruel media scrutiny. For this reason, the royal family decided to protect her from public exposure, giving her a childhood in complete privacy, far from royal duties. William explained that the decision was not easy, but it was made out of love. "We wanted to give her the freedom to grow up without the burden of public expectations," he said. Clare lived surrounded by affection, but separated from the official life of the crown. As time passed, and now in her 20s, Clare decided to introduce herself to the world. She is not seeking fame, but rather to be a voice for those facing similar conditions. Her goal is to raise awareness about body diversity and promote acceptance of difference. Her public appearance with William at an official event was the turning point. The media reacted immediately. Some applauded her courage, while others criticized the family for hiding her for so long. Society was divided between those who valued the protection of her privacy and those who demanded greater transparency from the monarchy. Clare's story is not just that of a young woman with a rare medical condition. It is a story about how public figures, especially those born into institutions as traditional as the monarchy, are treated when they do not conform to established standards. It also raises uncomfortable questions. Does a family have the right to hide one of its members for protection? Or is that a form of exclusion? William, with his sincerity, opened a conversation about the limits of public duty and the need to preserve individual dignity. His revelation rehumanized the image of the royal family, showing that they too face complex ethical dilemmas. Clare, for her part, has begun to become a symbolic figure for many. Her story has inspired people with visible conditions to feel less alone and has sparked a movement in support of body positivity. Interestingly, William's act of bringing Clare into the spotlight has an emotional resonance with his mother's legacy. Diana fought to make the marginalized visible, challenged social norms, and refused to hide the pain of those who suffered. Now her eldest son seems to be continuing that path, challenging the secrecy of the institution in the name of truth and inclusion. Clare's appearance has not only changed the family narrative, but also the role of the monarchy in the modern era. In times when transparency and authenticity are increasingly valued, this gesture represents an attempt to adapt one of the world's oldest institutions to the values of the present. As the monarchy navigates uncertain times between scandals of the past and challenges of the future, William emerges as an heir willing to take risks to do the right thing. The revelation about Clare marks the beginning of a new chapter, one where hidden truths are confronted, where empathy takes center stage, and where being royal means not only belonging to a noble family, but also acting with humanity. What happens from here on out will depend on how the public reacts, how the press handles the story, and how Clare decides to present herself to the world. One thing is certain: with this revelation, the monarchy will never be the same again.